Starting your seeds for your vegetable garden is one of the most rewarding parts of gardening. Watching your tiny little seeds go to fully grown plants that are producing food. But even experienced gardeners can make mistakes along the way that lead to frustration. You might end up going out and buying starch. I mean, who really wants to buy starch when you have seeds? So I'm going to walk you through 15 seed starting mistakes that many gardeners make. And also I'm going to give you some solutions to help set you up for a great gardening season. So let's dig in and get your garden going strong. Number one, starting seeds too early. You know, if you start your seeds too early, they might get leggy. Also, they may start to struggle in those little seed starting trays you have. My seed starting trays are only about that tall, but once you get about 3-4 weeks in, some of those seedlings need to be up potted. Every seed has an ideal starting time for it based on your frost dates and also your growing season. So if you don't know your last frost date, just Google your zip code and enter what is my last frost date or what is my first frost date, depending on when you're planting your seeds. Number two will be watering. That's underwatering and overwatering. Underwatering can cause your seeds to dry out, and that's the last thing you want to do. If those seeds dry out or those seedlings dry out, it could ruin them. Overwatering can cause fungus, mold, and root rot, which can completely devastate your young seedlings. Number three, planting your seeds too shallow or too deep. Now, if you plant them too shallow, your seedlings might dry out or they may even get washed away. Now, if you plant them too shallow, your seeds might dry out or they may even wash away. Either way, it's a lose-lose situation. Planting too deeply can ruin your germination rates. Imagine planting a little tiny seed like a tomato seed 3 inches deep. It's not going to work, folks. It's going to ruin your germination. So make sure you follow the directions on the package, because generally they'll tell you how deep you need to plant your seeds. Now, using garden soil or old potting mix can cause compaction, poor drainage, and disease. Now, when I start my seeds indoors, I use a lightweight, quality, sterile seed starting mix. I'll tell you a little secret. It's not too difficult to make your own seed starting mix. I might do a video on that. Not providing enough light. Now, do you know those young seedlings need 12 to 16 hours of sunlight? Or in case you don't have enough sunlight, get yourself a grow light, but keep it on 12 to 16 hours. Because without having light, you get long, thin, weak seedlings that might not survive the transplant. Number seven, I hope, is not hardening your seedlings off. Your seedlings, when you've had them indoors, have been under very nice, safe conditions. But when you transplant them outside, they might go through a shock. Try this. Take them out every day for 7 to 10 days. The first day, leave them out for maybe 4 hours, but don't make it a day that was really cold or super windy. Choose a day that has reasonable weather, and don't set them in direct sun, but put them somewhere where they can get a little protection from the sun. Do that the first day. Every day, increase the hours by maybe an extra hour, extra 2 hours. Do that for a week to 10 days, and then that will help your seedlings adjust to being outside in the wind, and maybe a little rain, with some more sun. Because if you take them and plant them directly in the sun, those plants might be doomed. Hardening off is all about doing a gentle transition from indoors to your garden. So even though the sun may not completely kill them if you do direct sun the first day, some of these seedlings are so young and so gentle, you never know what's going to happen to them. So treat them gently. Number 8, poor air circulation. This is something else that happens when you plant seeds indoors. You tend to forget that these are not necessarily the most natural conditions for your seedlings. So if you aren't providing good circulation, that can lead to diseases and fungus. Now, something I do is I have a little fan, just a little USB fan that is set not too far from my seedlings. And I'll leave that on that for maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. Hey, Cara. Anyway, I need a studio. Now, people usually suggest an oscillating fan, but I'm just using what I have. And it's not a very harsh fan. That little fan not only helps prevent mold and fungus, but it also helps strengthen up the stems of the plants, and it helps prevent leggy seedlings. Now I'm about halfway through my list, and since you're still hanging around, do me a favor, share the harvest of this video to your family and friends. Plant a seed by hitting that like button. As a gardener, harvesting is so important to us, but my most important harvest is you. So hit that subscribe button and expand that harvest by hitting that notification bell. That way you'll be here next time I have something going on in the greenhouse or in the garden. So let's get back to digging into that list. Overcrowding. Now I'm not suggesting that you don't put 2 or maybe even 3 seeds in a hole, because sometimes seeds don't germinate and you hate to have a seed cell that has nothing coming out in it. However, once those seedlings get big enough to have maybe 3, 4 sets of leaves on them, if you have 3 or 4 plants in one individual cell, it might be time to thin them out or even repot them so they don't have to compete for nutrients and things. Not labeling your seed trays. And I must admit, I did this as recently as last fall. Well, it's not that I didn't mark them. It's just that I use a regular permanent marker and it washed off. Most of my seeds had no label on them, so I was just going kind of by memory. Not labeling your seed starting trays could result in you planting something out a couple weeks earlier than you really should, because it might not be able to handle the temperatures. Or it might result in you planting something that needs a little bit of shade in direct sun. So please make sure you label your seeds. I did find a solution though, because I bought a gardening marker, which is supposed to be water resistant and fade resistant. We'll see, because I really don't want to go through what I went through last fall. Ignoring heating requirements. Now this is a huge mistake. It could prevent your seeds from germinating altogether. Imagine planting tomato seeds and it's only 60 degrees. They're probably never going to germinate not until the temperature gets high enough. Most seed starting packages do have temperature requirements for your seeds. So check those requirements out, and as best you can, go along with their suggestions, because that's probably what's going to work best. My tomato and pepper seeds need a good temperature. So I always put those, once I put them in my seed starting trays, I put them directly onto a heat mat until they start coming up. Using expired or poor quality seeds. Have you ever planted a bunch of seeds and wonder why they didn't come up? And then you look at the seed package and you realize those seeds are 5 years old? Well, once those seeds go into your second, third year, germination rate can drop significantly. I'm not saying they won't germinate, but I wouldn't plan on it. And I don't want to contradict myself, but I have tried seeds that were 3 years old before, and I did get a little bit of germination. So if you want to give it a try, give it a try. But once you get past 5, 6, 10 years, I did try an experiment. It didn't work. So if you want to try an experiment, why not? Have at it. Skipping fertilizing your seedlings. Now I know that potting mix that you might have eventually put your seedlings in might have a little bit of nutrients in it, but it wouldn't help to add a nicely diluted liquid fertilizer into your seedlings to give them fertilization to develop healthy roots, stronger stems, and to get bigger and stronger. Failing to monitor your seedlings' health. I know, life be lifing and things get in the way, but check on your seedlings. This can help prevent pest infestations from taking over. It can help prevent disease or even nutrient deficiency from hurting your seedlings before you get back to it. Because once they get hurt, especially when they're really young, it might take weeks for them to recover. Regularly check your seedlings for things such as yellowing leaves, pests, mold, dry soil. Take prompt action to help prevent any further damage. Before I finish my list, I'm thrilled to announce that I have a merch shop. So check it out. I guess maybe here, over here, or down here, or down here. It's going to be somewhere on the video. So please check it out. Now I know this is not going to be an all-encompassing list. So if you've made mistakes in seed starting or with your seedlings, put them in the comments below. We love to know, because I might fall into the same mistake that you've fallen in, and maybe I hadn't thought about it. If you have any questions or comments about what's on my list, or just overall gardening questions, please put them in the comment box. Now let's get out there and get a little dirty. Yeah.